You are now entering the world of a movie review. A world full of drama, joy, ridicule, movie spoilers, unpopular opinions, and adult humor for as far as the eye can see. Welcome to an evening at the movies.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to everybody's favorite movie-based podcast, An Evening at the Movies, the podcast where we eat stale popcorn, we drink the watered-down soda, and we discuss all of our favorite movies, and of course, why we love them. And good news, I am joined on this episode of An Evening at the Movies by somebody making her debut, and we are very happy to have her here. It's been
I lost audio. Can you hear me? You can hear me. I can't hear you. Uh-oh. Oh.
okay. How about now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Hi.
So, in an effort of complete editing, I'm going to go back to the very beginning, and we're going to take two.
You are now entering the world of a movie review. A world full of drama, joy, ridicule, movie spoilers, unpopular opinions, and adult humor for as far as the eye can see. Welcome to an evening at the movies.
Now, with all of that said, welcome to everybody's favorite movie-based podcast, An Evening at the Movies, the podcast where we eat stale popcorn, we drink watered-down sodas, and we talk about all of our favorite movies and why we love them. And with all of that said, now I will go back into the fact that we are joined on this episode of An Evening at the Movies by somebody who we've wanted to have on the show for a long time because she is an amazing person, a great friend, and incredibly knowledgeable. And you know what? At the end of the day, I'm just going to let everybody know all the information about her. So I'm going to introduce Jaimie. And welcome to the show, Jaimie.
Thank you. That's probably the nicest things that people have said about me, and I don't know how long. Look at that. Looks like I haven't messed it up with you yet then, right?
Uh-huh. It could be coming. It could be coming. I highly doubt
I
it
don't
though,
know.
because
We
I've got a
could be
PhD.
enemies.
I
We
got a
could be enemies
PhD in
on that
putting.
bracket. I tell you what, that's gonna be funny. One of these days, we're gonna go at
Uh,
it.
I fully expect that, and I've been on enough shows with you before in the past
True.
where you know not everybody's going to agree with everything
Right.
that everybody else says,
Right.
especially on the podcast that you're on, which is
Bracket Bastards. That's the one that you can catch me on that one the most. Yes, today is my debut on this one. I have been otherwise only on Maniacal Music Musings another time and Masturbators. So I'm a regular on the Bracket Bastards. And that's when me and the bastards, I tell you what, a couple of them seem to think that their opinions are everything, but they forget that they're going against the mouthiest bastard of them all. And cute, of course.
and if you've never watched or listened to an episode of Bracket Bastards, what Jaimie just said is 100% the fucking truth. She is absolutely, unequivocally the mouthiest bastard of them all.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah,
rest
if
of
anybody
the
follows
rest
my
of
Snapchat after today, everybody's kind of like, wow, go Jaimie. What can I say? I'm a trip.
I've been do, I've been doing my notes for this episode, so I'm not up on my snaps.
Oh, no, you're good. I've
So
had my notes done for a little bit, so I have a plot twist for you coming up here. I'll wait to drop that one on you.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, then, with all of that said, I think we beat around the bush long enough. We've talked in mysteries, we've talked in, riddles, but let's just reveal the movie that we're going to be talking about to the listeners, and it is the 1992 movie A League of Their Own.
Yes. If you're watching, you see my shirt. It says there's no crying in baseball. It's because that's the truth. I mean,
There
I
is
cried in
no
baseball,
cry.
but it was for
Oh,
damn good reasons.
I'm going to get to the bottom of that before we're done with this episode. But
Okay.
yeah,
Oh, I did forget a couple things, so I'm glad for that because that's some ugly memories. Nobody needs to see those.
true. All right. So before we get into the fun aspects of the show, we've got the basic stuff. A League of Their Own released on July 1st, 1992. Oh my God, that movie is 31 years old.
I know. It's weird to feel
Oh,
like I'm older than a movie though, because not that doesn't happen very often. But yeah, to remember when this came out, it's kind of weird. I was in second grade, folks. Like that's a little bit. That's a memory and a half right there.
you are a fucking young pup because I was in fucking high school at the time.
I know. So was Matt. So that sounds really bad when I say it like that. Like he moved to town the year I was born. So it gets funny like that. But yeah, you're old, so it's okay. It's okay. Just make sure you got your AARP ready, Casey.
I, I am I am old, and that seems to be the one thing that myself and my fellow podcasters really have in common. We're both old as fuck, but that's okay because everybody loves us anyway. So it is what it is.
Exactly.
Um, let's see what else. The movie was directed by Penny Marshall. Was released by Columbia Pictures.
It
Had
was
a 40 million.
inspired by the 1987 TV documentary, actually.
And yes, it was inspired by the documentary. I had that down at the bottom of my page. So
Oh.
thank you.
Well, we both got some notes here because I got notes too.
Yeah, you had like 8 pages of notes as soon as we first talked about doing this
I know
episode.
two. 2 pages. Swear to God.
I thought at one
No,
point it was 8, but
no, it's
that's
three.
okay.
It's three. I was
Um,
one's just for the cast alone.
well, yeah, because I do have one about that as well. But really quick, the box office for the movie was $132.4 million, and to this day, it is the only baseball movie that has ever made $100 million in dollars. So, and that
Yes,
says there's a lot of great baseball movies out there, but none of them
there
have
are.
done the numbers that A League of Their Own has done.
I know, and a
So,
lot of people, being from Iowa, a lot of people would think it's Field of Dreams, and it's not. It's a league of their own.
yeah,
I mean,
I mean,
Field of Dreams is a great movie. Don't get me wrong. So, and I love the hell out of Rookie of the Year, and of course Major League. All of those I grew up on. My dad and I loved watching those movies. But A League of Their Own, that's one that I will rewatch 50 million times. Don't care how many times I've seen it.
I, I probably have watched it 50 million times in the last 31 years.
Yeah, I mean, we might be exaggerating on the million part, but we've watched it way too much, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 2 pages of notes here, and probably, honestly, I probably could just throw this away and just wing the whole episode. I'm not going
I
to
know
because that tends to get me. Yeah, it tends to get me in trouble. I have to have some kind of logical
the
flow
structure.
to what I'm doing.
Yeah, no,
Otherwise,
you're good. I get
yeah.
you.
So now the fun part, because I warned Jaimie that we're going to do this. We have
Eh.
I I have the Rotten Tomato score sitting right here on the sheet, far enough back so that you can't see it.
Okay.
So, with all of that said, as we do with everybody else who comes on the show, would you like to wager a guess as to what you think the Rotten Tomato rating is? And mind you, because Amanda always asks this question whenever I ask, so I have to get it out there too. We're just going with the tomato meter from the critics.
Just the tomato meter. Okay.
We're not doing the fans and all that because okay,
Right.
this one it wouldn't necessarily matter because I'll spoil it a little bit. There's only 3 points difference between the two, but many times you'll have the tomato meter is one and then the fans is like 40, 50, 60% different. So
Right. Well, so
all
I'm
right.
gonna be honest here. We talked about our notes, right? First thing I did was like
Yeah.
go over shit. So I already know what the percentage meter is on Rotten Tomatoes by accident. But today's guess, actually, I told you Matt and I were talking about it earlier. My guess was actually
Yes.
87%. His was 92, and we're both wrong.
Not by a whole hell of a lot though.
No, not, but that's the thing, because I'm like, I told him, I said, why do I feel like I know this? Like, I know this. I can't be far off. Obviously, because I wrote them in my notes. Jaimie, you should put it out. I mean,
Well,
obviously,
and
like, come on. I laughed at it because I'm
yeah,
like, I can't fake wager with you. I can't be that kind of butthole.
no, there's been times that other people I've suspected may have known going in, and part of that is, I kind of sort of wait till the last minute to pop that question
Right.
or bit of information out there, and now you know for next time, for the next time you come on
I
the
won't
show,
look it up. I won't even look it up.
don't look up, don't look up the Rotten. Just stay the hell away from Rotten Tomatoes. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
um,
But for everybody else that don't know it, brr, what is it,
81,
Casey?
81%,
Yeah, see,
81%,
that's why I wasn't far off.
and the actual fan rating is 84% as well. So she's even closer on that. So
Yeah, true.
81, 84, 87, 92. All four guesses. Well, I feel like that's right in that window of where this is probably an accurate score.
Right, right. And honestly, I would have expected, especially recently, for it to be in the 90s, though. I have a feeling that that Rotten Tomatoes meter is going to change only because there's been a lot more talk about this movie recently. And I mean,
Yeah.
I dressed up for Halloween, which I didn't know if we were going to touch base on, but it was one of my looks was
I
I went as
I've
Dottie.
seen I've seen the pictures.
Yes. And it was a lot of fun. It's something I've wanted to do for years. But then hearing the hype of how many people are like, that's a great movie. I made my wife watch it for the first time. Couldn't believe my friends hadn't seen it. I'm like, how the hell is Rotten Tomatoes this crappy on their scores? It has to be because nobody wants to go to that website and really rank that shit the proper way. Like you guys
Well,
always say, FURT. Okay.
I mean, I would like to take credit, not necessarily just me, but the I did not make these ranking podcast network would like to take credit for any negative viewing of the Rotten Tomatoes website because we probably in the year that we've been around have said probably 1,000 times fuck Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes, yes, and I mean, as soon as you said it before, I'm like, no, I get it, I get it. No, I feel it this time with this movie and seeing the ratings. I'm like, oh no, I feel it. I get exactly where y'all are coming from. There's good everybody that's listening. You're gonna find that one movie that you're gonna be saying FURT because there is no damn way that the movie is ranked that bad, and this is one of them.
Yeah, this is a great movie, and we'll get to just how great, and we'll discuss everything with the reviews and our rating at the end and all that. But I've even as the fact that 81 is still a great score, it still
Right.
feels like it's way low.
It's like it's short changing, like you're selling yourself short here, League of Their Own. You're pretty damn good. You got to give yourself that credit. It's a timeless movie. I think that's the best part for me, is that no matter what age I've been at, I enjoy it. And I don't think I've ever actually heard someone tell me they don't like that movie. I'm dead honest when I say that. I cannot recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, folks. You can comment on my Facebook and let me know if you're one of them. I've never heard anybody say, I really did not like that movie. I kind of hate it. So I think that
I'm
says a
trying.
lot.
I'm trying to think because we've had discussions before
Hmm.
about doing this movie over the last couple of years, and
Yeah.
um, definitely I can tell you with 100% certainty, both Amanda and Shanna love this movie, and we're excited to be here. It just wasn't in the cards for tonight,
No,
but
and that's okay. I'm sad you guys couldn't be here. Love you guys. Seriously. I
um,
like Casey, I love you, but they help make everything more entertaining in a different way.
oh
That I'm
yeah,
like, all three of you guys together, I'm like, listen, I got to put like a tracker on you, and or like them Apple Watches, and then like a meter for how mouthy y'all get before I got to be like, whoa, whoa, public ain't ready for you guys. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
yeah,
No, I'm
we're
not.
fun.
We're a damn fun bunch. So that's why I'm super glad to be the one doing this movie
Yeah,
on the show.
especially yeah, and I mean I don't think even Dre or Harvey has had a bad thing to say about this movie. I don't recall exactly
Yeah, I really don't. I mean,
what
hey
their
guys,
opinions
speak up
are.
whenever. Let us know if you do. But no, I really don't. I just don't think there's anybody out there that's really hated on this one. Props to you if you feel that way. But I mean, I just this and like Major League Baseball and Rookie of the Year with Tommy E and Nicholas, those movies to me have always been like everybody seems to enjoy them or just be like, yeah, I watched it, not a bad movie, but not a bad word said. So
Well,
kind of like
I fully understand the fact that this movie may not be everybody's cup of tea.
that.
Not
Exactly.
everybody, not everybody's a baseball fan. It's kind of an older historical picture,
Yeah.
and people can't always seem to get behind how dated it might be. But I mean, it's obviously something you can't just take out of the 1940s and move to
Yeah. Well, and
today.
I
I mean,
love
it
how
has.
you said that because there's people that might not be a baseball fan, but they're a fan of history and the way it can be depicted with some
Mhm.
nonfiction thrown in there. So they might not be a baseball fan and watch this movie and still feel like, oh, that's not a bad thing, or vice versa. There's probably baseball fans out there that didn't realize the history and the depth of this movie and what it really meant for people. So, I mean, it brings two different types of crowds together, so the whole like they end up liking it is not a shocker to me, but if you're an extreme, I love baseball, or an extreme history buff, you might not have a very good view of the movie, I guess. So just depends on how extreme you are on those ends.
Well, and as far as like acting goes, on top of it, there
Mhm.
is some incredible, amazing acting in this movie, and I I will go on record as saying Tom Hanks is one of my top three favorite actors of all time, probably top two.
Mhm.
It's either him or Johnny,
Ooh, really? Okay.
and
Okay.
and this is right in that era of Tom Hanks's career
It
where
is.
he he had a style of movies that he did during the 80s and the early years of his career. But
Yes.
then you towards the end of the 80s you had Big came out. You had A League of Their Own. He moved into Philadelphia and Forrest Gump and
Well, it's because he realized I want to say in Big, he realized he's more than the boy next door.
Mhm.
He's more than your classic guy. He had way more to bring to the table than I think he realized. Like he's ready for them britches, and I think Big was a no pun intended, a big one. Besides a League
Yeah.
of Their Own, that really like threw Tom Hanks out there into some different roles, and I like that very much
And
so.
it's nothing against the stuff he did in the 80s. I love The Burbs and Dragnet and all the funny comical stuff,
Yes.
lighthearted stuff that he did during the 80s, but then he definitely.
This fits him better. There's something about like he's grown appropriately to these roles that he's done.
He matured into another level of an actor.
Yeah, like you know how we're only 10% into our brain. Like he tapped
Mhm.
into a whole nother part of his brain where he's like, well, shit, let's go. I mean, I'm not a huge Tom Hanks fan. I am a fan, better, way more of a fan than Tom Cruise. That dude can bite me. But you know, Tom Hanks, I have to say, one of my favorite parts of this movie was him with the girls, but him. I mean, I had a lot of asshole coaches back in the day in softball. I had a few of them. I threw my cooler at one of them. I actually quit in the middle of a game, got
Oh
on
my
my
god!
damn moped, and told them to f off in a Dutch town.
Oh my
I
god!
literally hopped on my moped, my Honda Express. It's like,
I could
I'm
totally see you throwing a cooler at
out.
somebody.
I did, and later in the years, actually probably a couple years later, he was my math teacher after that. So if you're listening, sir, I don't apologize. I don't. What I say is we had some damn good memories together between softball and math, did we not, Mr. Vinvark? Did we not?
See, that's really weird because, like, when I was in high school, like the guy who was the baseball coach then
Yeah.
was my math teacher.
That's funny. I have to say though, I had a lot of coaches over the years between little league, middle school, and JV ball in high school. But my start off from middle school to high school was my aunt's sister, a married an aunt, Steph. She's an amazing person. I learned a lot from her. But then she with who we call Fish, if those two got together, they were the best coaching dynamic duo I've ever seen. And Fish, like I played adult softball back in
Mhm.
2013. And when she walked on the field, I remember looking at my damn teammates going, fuck. God, because I knew my ass was gonna get beat. Are you kidding me? Like that shit was just too much fun. I give my absolute most respect to when it came to coaching. Lots of fun because they had that banter, they had that attitude, but then they were the butthole. Like Tom Hanks had to be at times. They did. They were a lot of fun, but they had to. There's a couple times they were like, Jaimie, knock it off. And coaches like that deserve awards. So Tom Hanks depicting coaches I've seen over the years, he did good. He did real good.
Well, I mean, because there's definitely an evolutionary process to that character from the beginning of the movie
Oh
to
yeah.
where he is at the end. And even still, I mean, he's a drunk, misogynist, sexist, whatever you want to call it, asshole
Hmm.
that literally is just there to collect a fucking paycheck and sleep off his hangover and scratch his balls and do
Get
whatever.
right back to drinking, and yeah, I got you.
But then as the story progresses, he starts to, warm up to the idea of girls playing baseball and he kind of sort of develops that relationship with Dottie and he starts to get into the whole idea of being a coach. He's not necessarily the warmest, most friendly because he still has like the moments with Evelyn where she keeps missing the cutoff man, and he's like, "Damn you, you're still missing the cutoff man." And
I
that's
mean,
something I would like you to work on for next season.
exactly. And he doing this stuff. My dad could give me the same type of reaction and look, not speak hardly a damn word other than "Gah!" And you knew. So Evelyn going, uh-huh, uh-huh. It's exactly how I was in baseball all the time. Like as soon as my dad gave me that look of, you know what you did wrong. Fuck. Okay, okay. But that was a good moment. That besides there was no crying in baseball. I
Well, I was gonna say,
fully
yeah, that moment stems off of the
yes.
initial reaction with the "there's no crying in baseball," all because at the same time she missed the cutoff man earlier in the movie, and he rips her a new asshole, and
But when
she
she
starts
gets the
crying.
cutoff man, that was fun too. His excitement for his frustrations is the same as like an actual coach. with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And what I like how you said he warmed up to everything and he really changed and had an evolution in his character throughout the movie. Very true. I agree. The thing that caught me and I remember the most about this when I first saw it and I first started getting, into the movie more than just the surface level was
Mhm.
when out of all people it was Dottie. It was Gina Davis. It was that actress, that character, and how they depicted her from the beginning of the movie till then that I'm like, I guess I wouldn't have seen her being the one to really get through to him. Cause in real life, I'm that butthole at times, and I meet those people that are like who Tom Hanks, Jimmy Dugan, and then they butt back harder. They're usually a lot worse and a lot more stubborn. So I know that at one point they had talked of a romance to the story with Jimmy and Dottie, but they did not do that. And I think that's why the dynamic that they have in the movie is such a great feeling that you can tell between them because there
Yeah.
was that man everybody thinks they should have got together or they're glad that they didn't. That it was a talk at one point, but they naxed that right away. They're like, no, we're not doing that.
I
It's not a love story by any means, but
no.
I like how they tried to still make it happen with a friendship and getting through to someone.
Yeah. I think if they had added the romantic aspect to it, I think it probably would have ruined the whole entire storyline.
I
Like
feel that
not.
way too. I do feel that way because they only give a little glimpse of what I figure of that love, like when that moment that Tom Hanks takes that letter from that mailman, rips it the f up, like kind of that little card to sign, tell
Oh,
you pray for spaghetti.
When Betty's husband dies. I
Yes,
I've seen that
I
scene a
oh,
million times and ball every fucking time.
every single time. I'll be like, you better get the tissues ready, Casey, because I'm gonna cry. It's a hands down every time. So that and then seeing Dottie's character with her husband, I'm just like, okay, I'm glad that that's about the most. And then Marla meeting her husband. I'm glad they only gave glimpses of love into that because that's not what the movie was supposed to be about. So I'm glad they
Yeah.
included that. But I'm glad they kept out the Dottie and Jimmy thing because that
Well,
didn't need to be.
it added an element of reality to it, but like you said, at the end of the day, this isn't about their lives. It's about them working together and becoming a team and the evolution of this league to try and help save baseball at a time when most 18, 19, 20, 21 year olds were going overseas and trying to kill Hitler.
Literally, folks. If you don't know your history, literally.
Yeah.
No, that's damn true. Like, I mean, my sister and I are 5.5 years apart. So I had a couple other cousins that were about that age, if not a little younger. So we had our times against each other on the softball field. But if it would have been me and my sister, we would have definitely been Kit and Dottie for sure. I mean, I can dip into it later. I do have a moment where in the movie happened to me in real life during one of my games, but I just think it's kind of fun how they have the Dottie and Kit thing because my sister and I were very much like that. We just didn't have that opportunity to play ball together. So
So, spoiler alert before that way I can put it out there and have hopefully Jaimie remind me that we need to do this before we get to our reviews and rating for the movie. But there is a question I'm going to pose to you as well
okay,
as the listener as well as the listeners on and the listeners can answer on Spotify and or Facebook or whatever. But I'm going to save it for later and but it does hinge around the Dottie and Kit relationship.
okay, okay.
Uh, I'm sure you can probably put two and two together and figure out what it's going to be.
I have a very small feeling, but I'm not gonna make any speculations because I can be way off sometimes. That's for dang sure.
I love as much as I love the whole Jimmy and um, Dottie relationship in the movie,
Right.
and I was I had opposite sex friends growing up, as a younger kid in the '80s. When you have that whole once you get to a certain age where you're teenager, all of that, you know, you start to have people start to think, sometimes you can't be a guy and have a girlfriend. that's
Yep.
not a romantic type relationship, or you can't be a girl and have a guy friend
Yep.
and not have it be a romantic type situation.
Yep.
And Jimmy and Dottie did prove to me in this movie that you can have that kind of a relationship. You don't have to necessarily be bumping uglies.
Exactly. I'm liking how you're saying that because you're hitting a very personal button on that. Very true. I think it's hilarious how society can do that. So I hope this, like you're saying, normalized it for people because
Yeah.
I don't want to bone all my guy friends. Thank you very much. Love you guys,
No,
but not like that.
again, same thing with me. I don't want to freaking get it on with all of my female friends at the same time. You know, it is what it is. But um, the other side of that, though, like the Dottie and Kit relationship,
Mhm.
definitely, I love how that is portrayed throughout the entire span of the movie, going
Yes.
from the that first game when they're discovered in Oregon,
Mhm.
and you still have that whole you know they don't beat around the bush and wait to give you the whole okay, there is some kind of a Dottie's older than Kit and kind of sort of harps on her a lot,
Yep.
and Kit may not necessarily have all of the athletic tools that her older sister has,
She has the damn drive.
but she does. Having the drive can almost be just as much of an importance as having the skills.
Oh yeah, because there's a lot of times you can mold somebody from nothing talent-wise that has the motivation and drive and desire for something, no matter what it is, even at a job. And
Mhm.
so what you're saying, like with Dottie, for me, what I call her is Mommy Junior. Like I said, my sister and I were 5.5 years apart. Guess who was always trying to be mommy when our mom wasn't around? My
Mhm.
sister. I felt that with Dottie and Kit. It's like she was a lot like me. We love our sisters dearly, but we are tired of being told what to do all the time, tired of being second best, tired of being second fiddle or whatever to you, whatever it may be, little
Yeah.
sayings. I felt that. That was another little. Nobody compared me and my sister by any means, but she did have a different talent for softball and for academics and for music. So she was in softball and bowling, just like I was. And we were both in band together.
Mhm.
We played the same instrument, all that stuff. So I hear you. I was following all those footsteps, my own choices, but you get that vibe a lot where it's like older sister harping on you. It's that it made me
It
giggle.
make it adds a level of competition to
Yeah.
the relationship.
Yeah, and it added realness for me because I'm like, wait a minute, because we had that in other parts of our family. We have many multiple daughter families on both sides of my family that we were all into
Mhm.
softball. So it's like there was always seemed like there was one or two going against each other of some sort. So definitely the little rivalry kind of fun stuff is was always there. So that's why for me, I instantly connected to it for the softball baseball factor, but for when I saw the Dottie and Kit part, I'm like, wait a minute. That'd be like, remember going to Kelly going, I'd get picked before you. And it was like a whole thing. She like, nuh-uh. Of course.
Yeah. Well, and at the same, even having saying that Kit has the drive, but maybe not the Kit has obviously a level of skill to her too,
Hmm.
because she was good enough to get in the league once she got there to try out,
Took a lot of hard work
and
versus Dottie and her
it
natural abilities.
it was a lot of up and down, you know, where Dottie was you know
Effortlessly good.
everything she did, catching a foul ball and doing the splits at the same
Oh,
time, or
get out of my head. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Is like, and Gina Davis, I'm saying it without her name in the movie. Literally, Gina Davis, that was an impromptu improv type of thing. That was her doing that for real. Like that was her, like, and her thing that she introduced. Are you seriously throwing that? We're in each other's heads. Yes, for real. Like that's the effortless factor that Dottie had versus Kit. Kit had the talent. Same thing with me. Like we had the talent,
Mhm.
but there was a different way to unlock that talent. And it was a fucking struggle bus to get there, but there's a different we're up and down. There's a lot, and that's frustrating. I could see that frustration. Kit, she did a dang good job. I do have to say, Lori Petty playing Keller, Lori did a great job depicting that
Mhm.
frustration, because if she wasn't truly frustrated as a softball player and she actually was doing great doing this, she sure made it look real. That's for damn sure.
Well, and I mean, you have those moments throughout, especially as you're starting to get to that point where the shit's really starting to hit the fan, and
Mm-hmm.
she ends up ultimately getting traded. But you know,
Mm-hmm.
her last couple starts that she had while she's pitching, you know, she's struggling, and she's getting obviously pitchers. I don't care what era it is. You can only go so long before you have to come out.
Yeah, and that's the part that pisses us off a lot. I mean, I wasn't locked down to one position. I was catcher, I was pitcher, I was outfielder. I played third base at times, but I was mainly either outfielder or catcher because I could throw. I could throw from catcher to the outfield. I got
Uh-huh.
thrown in as pitcher a lot. That would peeve me off because you put that pressure on yourself, but then your arm can only go so long. And that's really fresh. That's so frustrating as someone that loves the game. So, and then when someone else walks up and just does so well, it's just like,
Yeah.
hmm.
Well, and especially in the beginning of the movie where you have that whole aspect where she's doing really well, and
Hmm.
she's pitching a whole fucking game.
Yeah.
But people don't seem to always think about the fact that over the course of a long baseball season, you know I'm sure theirs was just a summer back then, but in the real life aspect of baseball seasons run from you know training camp in February all the way through, if you're one of the best teams in baseball, all the way through end of October, beginning of November.
Yeah.
So
You
it's
get
almost
tired.
it's a whole year. And if you're a pitcher, to go
Hmm.
out there and throw 100, 110, 120 pitches a night every five
At
nights,
90 plus miles an hour, for shit's sakes. I couldn't even
yeah,
do that if I tried.
your arm is not going to feel as fresh in September as
Hmm.
it did in April or May.
Yeah, and here we know that playing the dang game, but yet we're still hard on ourselves. I mean, it's a nice thing to still have an expectation level and push yourself, but there's also a point of when you've got to learn it's enough and it's okay. That's why you have a second, third string behind you instead of it just being you. You can't do it all by yourself. It takes a whole team.
It's hard to get through to that though, because again, another aspect people don't think about as well. But even back in like the World War II era when this movie takes place, they don't play in front of crowds anywhere near as big as pros do now,
Right.
but they still played in front of a whole lot of people. And when you're the pitcher standing on the top of that mound, in the middle of that diamond,
All on you.
all eyes are on you, and any mistake you make is going to be, amplified. You're going to get the boos, you're going to get yelled at, you're going to get hazed, whatever the case may be. But then, when you're doing good, you're going to get all the adulation and the cheers and the rah
Right.
rah and all of that. And it can, you have to have a strong, thick skin to be able to be a pitcher.
Yes, that's very true. Because I mean, the game is not going to happen unless you throw that ball. So I mean, and
Yeah.
people do. I agree with that. I have stage fright real bad, so I know that that's what's messed with me as a pitcher, even in slow pitch. Like I have a really bad sidearm, and I've struggled with it my whole life. But the part that I've embraced with it is that to stop getting mad at myself when, things would go completely opposite than what I'm planning. And
Hmm.
to watch Kit's character have a hard time with that, I'm like, oh, like I would have probably not listened to my sister very well either in that situation. I didn't listen to my dad a lot as he was my coach, technically. Even when he wasn't my coach, he was my coach because he knew me the
Yeah.
best. He trained me. He knew what how to talk to me. Like he could bowling and softball. All he had to do was say or do a couple things with his hands, and I could tell what he was saying. And so it brought up just a lot of funny memories for me when I watched the movie not too long ago. I mean, it's been on TV quite a bit, and I tend to catch it quite a bit when it's on. And I mean, I'm still as impressed with the characters and the actresses and actors that played them as I was the first time. I think that's why I enjoy that movie, is that you almost can see a different side of them every time
Mhm.
you watch it, depending on what you're looking for and stuff like that. But I think Kit's character just, I mean, I related a lot in attitude to her, but I related a lot in some other ways to Dottie. So, and like my dad said, Dottie's the best.
She's the Queen of Diamonds.
She is.
Um, I did find while I was doing my research though that they actually had over 2,000 women audition for that movie.
And you had to have a baseball background. You had to know how to play the game, though they trained you just like they train the ladies at an etiquette school. That was for real. They were really giving them those lessons.
Mhm.
You had to still know how to play. So to think of how many people showed up for that and how hard it was to pick all that. I mean, hell, Dottie wouldn't have been played by Gina Davis if they would have gone with the original person that they had in mind for the movie. And so just knowing
I
that.
think I have. I think I found two different names that actually were considered or had the part before she did.
Yeah, I don't know if I put the names down. I know Rosie O'Donnell had auditioned for Marla. She didn't even audition for her spot she had. But I didn't write down the names actually of the actresses that were considered or were planning to be. But I mean, Gina Davis was an accidental great ad for the roster. Um, just knowing that it took that many women. Yeah, Demi Moore was one of them, but there was somebody else though too. I do remember Demi Moore, but there was someone a little less known on the
Deborah
name.
Winger. Deborah
There
Winger.
you go. I knew it was a
Ac-
D something. Um,
Deborah actually had the part and quit the movie when Madonna got cast
oh
because
yeah, because they weren't going to be taking it seriously enough with Madonna there and everything.
she she felt that Penny Marshall was going to be making like an Elvis type movie,
Yes,
and
she thought
it
the
was
movie was going in a whole nother direction. That's right. But
which I can understand, but
I I get it, but to not let that creative control or give faith in that creative control to the people that have hired you, I'm like, wait a minute, what does that say about her? I'm not trying to dog on that actress by any means, but I just love how in the end, Madonna and Rosie O'Donnell ended up being some of the best parts of the movie, or for some people, or the people that worked for the movie set and in the movie set and everything. They had a lot of fun entertaining the people in the crowd between sets and between scenes. And they were called Mo and Row quite a bit, I guess, by Penny Marshall. So they ended up being great. So I bet that lady
and
feels a little
they
silly now.
they went on to have a great friendship after the movie as well.
Very true. I think
So
Rosie O'Donnell was one of the only ones. She would show up and start singing Madonna songs. One of the first times she did that, she goes, "Please don't
pissed
do it
her
again."
off.
So she kept doing it, and it ended up being something that I think Madonna was okay with in the end. But out of all people, Rosie O'Donnell would be one of the very rare ones I'd let get away with a lot because it's Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah,
Shit.
no, I actually had that on my cell phone notes as well.
Sweet.
So, uh huh. I did see also that gnarly ass freaking bruise that um they showed on Alice's leg in
Yeah.
the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
That wasn't makeup. That's a real fucking bruise.
And it lasted 10 damn years almost from what that one article says. There's other articles that don't say how many years, but
Uh,
yeah, that I mean, okay, so she did that sliding. Another fun fact is the exact same way the girls learn how to slide for softball, baseball, all that. is with a slip and slide. Same
Mhm.
thing that we did growing up too. Slip and slide was one of the biggest things that helped me in my sliding game. But no matter if it was on the slip and slide or on the field, I can't, after wearing that outfit a couple weeks ago, I cannot imagine actually sliding in that. No way, Jose. No. What will happen is exactly what I did like the movie. I'm going to run right into you and I'm going to get you to knock that ball out of your hand and it's going to be a home run because that's exactly how that
Yeah.
happened before for me. So, ha ha ha. I ain't sliding with a skirt on. Alice, actress, you are brave. I hope your leg has
Yeah. No.
healed.
Very first time I ever saw that movie, I had never thought about the fact that how painful would that be to literally slide through the dirt like that in a skirt?
It was
No
painful
protection
enough
on
on,
your legs or
yeah,
but
the
yeah, if
slip
you've
and
got
slide.
even having pants on, you can rip your damn pants or whatever. So to do it on a bare
Mhm.
leg on top of it, no. No thank
Yeah,
you.
exactly. I mean, we wore shorts probably the first couple of years of Little League, but of course we weren't sliding then. So by the time I hit high school and in the middle school years, those were with pants, but I bruised so dang easy that no way, like I hurt quite a
You're
bit after I would
you're a
slide.
peach.
And that was just slip and slider and pants. So props to you women, because that's ow. Ow.
Yeah.
Ooh, ow. Just gives me the heebie-jeebies thinking about it because that was a giant bruise. Like, uh, did she? Did you get
And
work with
it
the pump
was
lady? Did you
dark
file?
as
Did they
fuck.
cover your medical bills?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure back in the late 30s, early 40s, there was no workman's comp for women.
Oh no, I'm just saying from the movie. Like Alice, Renee,
Oh,
your real
oh
name.
yeah,
Did you? You better been covered, girl. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
right. Um, let's see the last couple notes that I have. Um, Betty Spaghetti actually is Penny Marshall's daughter,
Yes.
so
Yes, I do love
nepo
that.
baby.
I love how so here Rockford Peach is an actual team, but I love how they
Oh
kept obviously some of the characters true, but they didn't for Dottie. She was actually a third baseman. She was not a catcher.
yeah, no, there was
And so that
obviously
one shocked
it's
me.
Hollywood, so I I expect some creative liberties to come. So I still think the liberties that they took in this movie didn't ruin it by any stretch of the imagination. Obviously,
Yeah. I mean, the game was real, I guess, but the balls were squishy. I'm like, really? Like we went that far. Like, okay, okay. Out of all things, I guess everything else is real. Why are we gonna take the balls? I mean, you just didn't want to damage stuff. You didn't want to hurt anybody that bad. Did you not see Alice's leg? It didn't take anything but dirt. So squishy balls probably still gonna hurt.
yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, you're making a valid argument. It's like you're playing full speed, 100% balls to the wall, but then you're using squishy balls. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah, and if the ball
okay,
was squishy, body, are we ever gonna know if you dropped that ball on purpose or not? It's a good question. I
good
know in my
question.
situation, the girl did not drop it on purpose. She had nothing but the choice to drop it because I tackled her so damn hard. No joke. As soon as that play happened, you can hear my dad screaming from the stands, "She's safe, she's safe." The umpire in the field saying no. The coaches are fighting about it. It's a whole ordeal. And the umpire looks at my dad and says, "So you think you know what you're talking about? Why don't you come and do this?" So he did. And he got certified that
Mm,
very next day. And he wasn't joking. Like they ended up calling me safe. It was an infield home run, but it was controversial for how I tackled my catcher. And she was I call her my catcher because we played softball later on together. But
mhm.
that was a great moment. I remember my dad being so proud. He goes, "You know what that was?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "That was your own moment, your league, your own moment." I'm like, "Shut up, Dad." But it is a great memory. It is something me and the girl talk about quite a bit. It's because we're both together a lot in classes, both together a lot in activities, but on opposite teams quite a bit. So it became a funny haha for us because we're like, were we playing softball or football? I don't know yet, but it was fun.
All right, so I we may as well because we just talked about it. So I'm gonna rip the band-aid off,
Okay.
and we're gonna ask the question.
Okay.
So World Series Game 7, bottom of the ninth, score tie. Well, yeah, scores tied. Kit coming around third, headed for home. Dottie catches the ball that's relayed into her from the outfield. Kit puts her shoulder down, barrels right into the middle of her sister's chest. The ball comes out of Dottie's hand as she hits the ground. Did Kit knock the ball out of her hand, or did Dottie let the ball go?
I truly feel Dottie let the ball go. I really do. She's a good and smart enough player that she had handle. She knew what she was doing. Her
Mm-hmm.
sister deserved it. Her sister deserved it. And I feel like that was a moment that Dottie made sure she got what she deserved. Happened to just be in her
As
control.
much as, yeah, there as much of a rivalry as there was between them throughout the entire movie, there was never ever any doubt in my mind that they the two of them didn't love each other unconditionally.
Right.
They Kit may get frustrated and tired of, being held down or whatever the case may be, but they still both loved each other. And I never ever in my entire life thought Dottie was intentionally trying to hold her sister down.
Yeah. And
And I
I don't
never
feel that
doubted
she
that she
was
did
either.
unconditionally. But
But
at the same
I have to
time,
say with
after after, after having that blow up, well, I just gonna say after having that blow up that they had when Kit got traded, or even before they got traded, or
Mhm.
she got traded, a lot of emotion came out in those, you know, span of a few hours or day or whatever it was that transpired between all of it and then the actual trade happening.
Mhm.
So it probably was a very eye-opening experience for Dottie, where she realized, you know, oh crap, I've had this, all these people that are always talking about me, taking pictures of me, showering love on me, and then here's Kit doing all of this, that, and the other thing, and she gets nothing.
Right.
And then to have that actually happen and transpire where, okay, I have the control of this moment that
Mhm.
most people aren't going to ever have that kind of control over.
Right.
So it's never officially been announced whether or not, yes, one way or the other. Yes, she dropped the ball. Yes, Kit knocked it out, whatever. But I think you're right, though. I think she probably did drop it.
I mean, you could tell by their interaction together afterwards and the vibes and the way, not just the unconditional
Hmm.
love that you can feel and you know is there when they're talking at that moment. There was just that understanding of, I know what you did for me. I know that if I wouldn't have done what I done, obviously that wouldn't have happened. So she knows that she deserved to win and that she did a great job and everything, but she knows that in the end, unfortunately, it was up to her sister, and her sister being the bigger person, of course, did. I do fully agree with people kind of going up in the air on this one just because it kind of cracks me up, like only because I've been in that moment. It's not just movie sake of it, but you could tell that it wasn't something that was not done on purpose. I feel like there'd be a clear difference to it.
To me, my thought process is I've seen enough collisions at the plate, and
Mm-hmm.
normally when a base runner comes barreling into a catcher, that ball goes completely flying in one direction or the other,
Mm-hmm.
a significant distance.
Yeah.
And that ball in the movie, literally, you see her hand hit the ground, and then it just rolls right. As
Yeah,
hard as
just
she got
a
hit, that ball would have
slow, soft
that
release,
ball would have
really.
flown out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
for sure.
there's absolutely that alone. Other than the other, I mean, it makes for a great story, and it's having that the way that Dottie looked across the diamond at Kit while she's celebrating, and had that look of
Mm-hmm.
proudness in her pride in her sister
Right.
for finally having that moment to celebrate. You got one up on me, kid. Way to go.
Right. Right.
And
That's true. That
come
that
home at
moment was a
Christmas,
little
otherwise I'm going to come back and
bit
hit
right,
line drives at your head.
for sure. I'm just totally looking over my notes for a few other things. One thing I thought was a lot of fun though, following all of that, when they actually go back to when they go to the Hall of Fame and everything, the extras. I always wondered who they all
Mm-hmm.
were. I mean, I always wondered, how do you get to be an extra in a movie, or how do they decide on extras? That one, I felt like, and my dad was like, I wonder if those were the softball, like actual softball players. I'm like, they probably are. Yeah, I don't know. That'd be really cool. And then to come to find out when I was doing research, they actually were Hall of Famers from the AAG. What is it? Sorry, AAGPBL. Those actually players from that. So that made it more fun for me once I found that out. Because I'm like, okay, there's a lot more history ties and a lot more thought put into this movie than what you would think, because they didn't like put makeup on Gina Davis to make her look old. They actually casted people in the older generation to depict them. They did a damn good job. I'll give them that. But yeah, just
Yeah,
hearing and finding those things out kind of just made me enjoy the movie more. They cared about those details. So I like that.
yeah. 'Cause at the end of the day, you don't get a lot of that out of Hollywood. You know,
Right.
you can see movies where you know you have a certain star that's cast to play like the adult version of somebody, and then they cast somebody to play the kid, and like literally they look nothing alike. It's like,
Right.
are you even trying with this?
Yeah, we have too
I
many
can't think of anything
doppelgangers in
right off
this
the top of my head.
world. Yeah, but there's too many people
Yeah,
in this world that look like someone else. Like, you can find, and this movie proves it because they did it with several of the characters. You can find people that look, and some of them, I actually wondered if some of them were maybe not family members of the actual actresses and actors, because I'm like, they look too much alike to not be related somehow, some way.
yeah. I mean, even like, okay, I'll use Dottie and May for, or Doris and May for an example. Like both of those, I felt like both of the elder versions of that easily could have been older versions of Madonna and Rosie O'Donnell.
Even Kit's older version of her.
Yeah,
And Gina like all of them.
very
There was
much so.
just something about those 4 or 5 at least that I'm just like, damn, y'all did. Stillwell did a good one with that. Did a good one with Stillwell. You're gonna
Yeah, that kid, I
lose.
wanted to freaking punch him right on his freaking knuckle sandwiches, you little rat.
That dynamic with him and the coach Jimmy, that was the best. And it's just like when he hit him with
Yeah,
the glove and he went down, just Jimmy's little reaction. Ah,
got
got him.
him.
Yes.
Well, I mean, they
That's when
literally
you
spent the entire summer being tortured. tortured by this kid.
And he becomes
He's
one of
running up and
the
down
family.
the aisle. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like still his mom's not there to celebrate the Hall of Fame moment with everybody, but
Yeah.
he shows up and kind of have that. Oh, I feel for you, kid. You lost your mom, but thank you for showing the initiative to come and be a part of the whole thing.
Yeah, I
Because
mean, for as much as he was involved before, and to come back and I'm going to represent my mom in that moment. She
Mhm.
can't be here, so let me be there for. And then they say that like Stillwell, like they remember him and all that stuff. So it's like it was
uh-huh.
kind of nice to see that because I mean, if I if anything like that were to ever happen, of course, like if I'm not around and they're going to honor something I did, like one of my kids better go in my place. Shit, go recognize
So
my awesomeness. I'm kidding.
they're gonna honor your mouthiness on Bracket Bastards.
I know, right? One of these days, my mouth's gonna get me in trouble. But until then, let's have fun.
Well, I mean, if you're not having fun, then you're fucking doing it wrong.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's one. I met
So,
an amazing lady that said the same thing earlier. She was 80 something, almost 90 years old, damn handful. But man, I'm like, you are ornery. She goes, I wouldn't do it any other way. She goes, it's fun. And I'm like, that's it. You are my goal. You are my goal. If I make it to your age, I'm gonna be as much of an asshole as you are. And I love it. Love it.
so
I'm
one of my other than the whole aspect of there's no crying in baseball, like I
Mhm.
have a favorite line from the movie. I don't have it 100% all the way down, but at the end, right before the World Series, when Jimmy and Dottie are having it out about her quitting and going home, she makes reference to the fact that it got too hard, and Jimmy goes off about the hard is what makes it great. If it wasn't hard, everybody could fucking do it.
right.
So, and that was something that I was always told. I was told by coaches. I was told because I was in theater in high school too. My drama teacher told us that all the time when we'd show up and we didn't know our lines or whatever. And it's like there's a lot here. It's freaking hard to do, and it's like would slap us in the face with. Of course, it's hard. If it wasn't hard, everybody could do it.
Right.
And that's a way of saying you're special. You got something that not everybody can do. Don't piss it away. Take it and do something positive with it.
Right.
Which is what
Very
Jimmy's
true.
trying to convince, Dottie, he gets the whole idea of her going home and having a family and being a wife and a mother and all of that. And he's on board for that. But at the end of the day, he's trying to get her to realize if you quit and go home before you see this this season through, you're gonna hate yourself forever for it.
Right. And
And
to just
truth be told, at the
think
end of the day,
that,
he probably would.
right. And to be honest, to think that Tom Hanks was not the first choice for that role, Jim Belushi was. I could still
Yeah.
see Jim Belushi doing a
No,
damn
thank
good
you.
job in that role, but I still feel
But
Tom Hanks.
it's still not the same.
It's not because I can see Jim Belushi in that role. I wouldn't have thought that about Tom Hanks though. So that's the thing is that Tom Hanks
No.
showed us a whole nother side to him with the evolution of his character. And then I've almost forgot about that part of the movie. To be honest with you, I had a couple other quotes somewhere written down. That was one of them because that one, like, I was just like, well, damn, he's got more going on in his head than we think. And I like that it was already showing us an evolution of him, but then like he had a damn good point. I mean, a lot of people in sports need to hear
Literally
that. A lot of people need to hear that in general, just period. Need to hear
every
that. Hard is not
every
always
damn
easy, and
quote
that's
that every no, and every damn quote that I have written down is all of Tom Hanks quote from that movie.
okay. I
Uh, uh,
mean, I think besides there's no crying in baseball. Mine was just Stillwell. I'm sorry. It's just because
yeah.
it made me laugh. Because it's Tom Hanks and his laugh afterwards when he knocks him over with with the whole baseball. That just shit. I mean, that stuck out in my head more than anything else. So I'm not very sentimental with
Uh,
my lines like you were there.
well, I also like the one, use your head. That's that lump 3 feet above your ass.
Yes, yes.
You know,
That and the
he
way
he
he
had
talked to
he
the
has some
girl.
heartfelt, warm moments, but he's still hilarious.
Right. Yes, there was definitely that is one thing I loved about it is because that is another similar coaching style to how Stefan Fish would be with me, but also even how my dad was with me. I related better to that type of coaching, someone that's going to drill my ass and tell me exactly how it needed to be and exactly how it was if my vision or my thoughts were some reason different. So it's like he brought a whole reality to it in his style of coaching and the way he tapped into realness. Like I feel sorry to say, if there's softball coaches out there that are not as much of a dick as Tom Hanks' character was at times, you need to be. It's that tough love that makes a big difference in a baseball and softball player or any player in general. So I found that to be a lot of fun to see just because I'm like, I did well with that kind of coaching. So it was good to see that the girls ended up doing well with that kind of coaching because it molded them into better people and better players.
Well, and I appreciate the fact too that this wasn't your typical cookie cutter sports movie where the like Rockford didn't win the championship at the end.
Yeah, a
They
lot of
lost.
people would expect that.
You don't always have to be, the prime focus of the movie, and then at the end of the movie, you don't have to win the championship. You can
Yeah,
lose and still be, still have the movie get your damn message across.
right, right. And the fact that it was an actual team and everything too. Like I don't know. I really love that. I love how there's just so much realness to it. I think overall that's just what I loved about it. Even if I wasn't a softball player, I feel that I still would have enjoyed this movie because it just had different depths to every character and there was more
Mm.
than just two main characters. There was multiple to it. So it's like when I focused mainly on Kit during the movie, I would catch different things. And then if I focused mainly on all the way May, then I would catch something different. And so, but I loved how all the way May and girl Rosie O'Donnell's character, how they them with the guys at the games and then them at the what was it, the Sud Soaker? What was that place called? The little
Sud
bar that
bucket.
they went to? Sud Bucket. There you go. Sud Soaker. Don't know where the hell I got that from. But I'm just like, there's something fun about all that. I'm like, okay, all the way May would be the girl to bring that fun out of all of the ladies. So I thought that was good. I thought that was a good time.
It would not be that far fetched of an idea without having May on the team. That most of those girls probably would have fallen in line and just, you know, not smoked, you know, did their makeup. We're very
Structured. They would have been
cookie
very
cutter.
yeah, coached because they went to all that etiquette stuff. But May's character
They,
did bring out a different, which is something that I have friends that are like that too. Like I might be straight laced on a certain thing, but I'll get this one other friend over here who's got a little bit more confidence and it can just change the whole dynamic. And I like that. That was a fun aspect to the movie. Because Marla
yes.
singing "It's Been You," all that dumb shit, that was I died. I get secondhand embarrassment very easily. And you best believe I had secondhand embarrassment to that part just because I'm like, that's how my voice sounds sometimes. And I could tell you my dressing up for Halloween, I was aiming for all the way May, but I felt more like Marla Hooch. Kidding.
They're all a key element of the team. You can't have a team without having all of them together.
Right.
So, um, I don't have anything else of major relevance in my notes. Was there anything else that you had that you wanted to bring up before we got to our review?
Well, I mean, we can't forget back in 2012, they had been inducted for the National Film Registry. That was for being
Oh,
culturally,
yes.
historically, and aesthetically significant by the Library of Congress. So we got to give them props to that. They obviously did something amazing and
Yes.
right to be put into something of that category, that caliber. You did a good job, Penny Marshall and cast.
Mhm.
Y'all did a good job. That's two snaps and around the world. If y'all know your old TV shows.
In living color.
Exactly. I just had someone do that to me the other day, and I'm like, finally, you are like my people when you know what that is. But no, that was my only other thing was just to know that that movie got recognized for more than just the what they did historically. Just there was more to it, and they got that recognition. That damn good job, guys. Bravo.
So, also off of that, kind of sort of as well. Like you said, this movie is technically based off of a documentary that came out in the 80s.
Yeah.
Um, there was a very short lived TV show of the same name that I think, only 5 out of 6 episodes that were filmed aired.
Yeah, it wasn't even a full season. I mean, they tried. They tried. Their uniforms were a little different. They had their own look and vibe, but yeah, it was very short lived. I remember that.
And then the one that everybody else might remember is the fact that there is a 1 season TV series on Amazon Prime that's based off of the movie.
Yes.
Supposed to be having a final second season. Unfortunately, a couple months ago, due to the writer's strike, Amazon announced that season one's all you're going to get. So,
I love that. Sometimes it's best to leave things where it's at, though, too. So, with the hype of the
yeah,
movie and everything, especially recently, it probably is a good idea to leave it where it's at. I have not watched all of what they've released on the TV show. I guess I kind of secretly afraid for it to ruin my love for the movie. I mean, I'm gonna still love the movie,
yeah,
but I'm
that's
gonna
why.
be mad if it's not as good. So is it wrong for me to say I'm scared to watch it? Because I am. Okay, scared. More than horror movies. I'm scared.
Nope, because
Okay.
I haven't even watched 1 episode, and the reason
So if
why I
you
haven't watched
do,
1 episode yet.
okay, if you do, Casey, we will watch episode by episode and talk about it if we have to. We'll be our emotional support just in case.
It's actually not a bad idea. I can't be that
Yeah.
many episodes either, so it's
Right.
an
Even if
Amazon
there was,
show.
I'd do
It,
episode by episode with you. You just can't jump ahead of me.
I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good idea for an idea for Jamie and I to do. So we might just do that. So, um, I, as the host, will tip my hat to you and let you go first. And what give your overall review of the show, and then rate it out of 5.
Okay. Well, if I could sing, I would, and I was almost gonna have it on cue, ready to do the batter up and do the whole the I love that song. I want a ukulele just so I can play that song. But with that note being said, it is a 4.75 out of 5 stars for me. I say it like that because I don't have any major things holding me back from a 5 other than I feel like I'm conflicted between they could have done a sequel to it, like they could have done at least one follow-up, or they did a great job leaving it alone. So I'm glad that they depicted things the way that they did. I am at that before our talk today. and after people recently, I was more frustrated with, did she drop that ball on purpose? I've got to know. Like, I can't be told half a story. I got to know the whole thing. So those are probably the only reasons why at one point I was holding back that point 0.5 of a star, but I'm going to give it that 4.75 because everybody did a great job with the evolution of their character, because it was not just Dottie's character, not just Jimmy's character, not just Kit,
Mhm.
but you see a growth in Marlo, you see a growth in not just Marla Hooch, but then you do for Rosie O'Donnell's character Evelyn. No, that the other one's Evelyn Doris. Sorry, and then you see it
Doris.
with all the you see it with all the way May. You have Helen and Betty Spaghetti, who are very consistent to be on the opposite of these characters that are growing into something more. But that I feel that they did such a great job with that is why I'm giving them such a good rating. Is just more than just character development. The whole thing went together well, but character development was a nice touch.
So I actually have it on my sheet, and I will send you a picture afterwards. But I went 4.75 out of 5 as well, and that was without even talking about it. That happened. Um,
That's funny.
but uh, yeah, to me, if you are a baseball fan and haven't seen this movie, it's an absolute, go slap down 3.99 and rent it online and watch it because unfortunately it's not streaming anywhere.
Yes.
Or just go out and freaking buy it because it's that great of a movie. You'll watch it over and over and over again. It's a
Worth it.
movie that can make you laugh. It can make you cry. It's your emotional dumping ground. You literally will feel every emotion from beginning, middle, end. Um, Penny
True.
Marshall did an amazing job directing, and at the end of the day, like you said, that cast is fucking iconic. Even you don't have to be a marquee actor like Tom Hanks or Gina Davis or Lori Petty, Madonna, Rosie O'Donnell. Everybody in that movie came together, and it was the true definition of what an ensemble cast is. Because if
Teamwork.
any aspect, even even the opposing teams, if those cast members don't work right either, then it affects the story.
Hmm.
So it's a great movie. I highly recommend people go out and freaking watch it because you won't be disappointed if you haven't seen it. So, and if you have seen it, go out and fucking watch it again because it's one of the most rewatchable movies of all time, in my opinion.
Very true. I agree.
So, with all of that said, I think that just about wraps up our episode. I want to thank the dozens for being here each and every week. You guys are incredibly amazing and awesome, and you are the reason why we keep doing these episodes each and every week. So
Yes.
keep coming back, and we will keep churning out quality episodes for you. Um, Also, thank you to Jaimie for coming on and making her debut. And before I move, let her say her goodbyes and all of that, I definitely want to extend an open invitation. She is welcome to come back anytime she wants. She can pick a movie, or if we have a movie on the schedule that she would like to join us for, she can jump on and chime in as well. So, I will let you have your moment to say goodbye, and then I will get into what's coming up on an evening at the movie. So, there you go, ma'am.
Well, thank you again. I'm very glad I got to choose. Like, this is probably my all-time favorite movie. So for the open invite, I'm definitely gonna chime in on that. I feel like it should be a movie of your choice that's gonna make me watch something different, so I can get a whole different type of review. Because this one was all of love and excitement. Because it is up my alley. Please do not make it anything with freaking Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. I'm not watching those. Just so
I
you
would
know.
I would not do that to you. That Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings and Harry Potter is definitely a specific genre that only certain people are going to get into.
Yeah,
And
as I'm sitting here like this is not a Harry Potter tattoo, folks. If you're watching, it's not. Just saying. But I'd be down. I would love to come back. Of course, I had a great time. So thank you for having me on today. But I mean, hey, you can find me on all the social medias, Facebook, and you can find me on Snapchat. You can find me on Instagram, X, the naughty way of saying Twitter these days. Instagram, and of course, what got me started in the podcast world is Bracket Bastards. I'm typically on there, here and there. I let other guests join in my spot just because if it's a better subject for them, I want the show to have that. So I am planning to be on this weekend. We had just hit our 100th episode recently. We are actually hitting our 2-year anniversary this Saturday. So join us this weekend on Bracket Bastards. Check us out on Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Bracket Bastards is definitely a highly entertaining show. I've been on several episodes in the last probably year and a half. Met some incredible people on that show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I highly recommend if you guys haven't listened to or watched an episode, check it out. Lots of fun, lots of shenanigans. Um, Other than that, what do we have coming up on an evening at the movies? Let's see. We've got day before Thanksgiving. We've got Galaxy Quest coming up
Ooh.
with Chris and Cassandra. The week after that, we've got everybody's favorite horror wackadoo, Mr. Chancey Greif, will be joining us for Motel Hell.
You're gonna want to hear that one. If he's on that, folks, you're gonna want to chime the fuck in. Put it on your calendar.
Chancey is a very well listened to guest on the show. His episodes
Yes.
do amazing numbers,
You're
and
welcome. You're
he
welcome,
is
everybody. Because
he is
me, I'm the reason for him and Shanna. So, podcast world, you are fucking welcome. Because they are the best things that I have introduced to any of my other friends, to the podcast world in general. I freaking love them guys. They're hilarious. Chancey is really good at it. And I love that. He shines. He's got great voiceovers. Good guy. Good guy. But besides Chancey's episode, I'm I'm enjoying the evening at the movies vibe more than I thought. So I'm gonna have to start, watching some more movies so I have more reasons to be on.
yes, you will. And then
Good.
obviously, we've got some holiday stuff coming up in December as well. We'll be revisiting National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation with um,
Ooh.
yeah. I'm looking it up really quick so that I don't screw up the name of the show because I try and not be rude to my guests like that. Today we laughed and learned,
We
which
did.
actually will be our very first internet, no, second international guest that we've had on an evening at the movies.
Ooh, all right.
That'll be exciting as well. And then the week before Christmas, we will have Jen and Chris back on the show as we are going to continue our venture into the Harry Potter universe, and we will be discussing Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. So
Oh
you can
boy.
you, you were so excited for that. So you guys can stay tuned for all of that, and obviously you can find us on social media. Um, as always, if you have a movie that you'd like to have us review, even if we've already done it, go ahead and recommend it, and I will try my best to get it on the calendar as quickly as possible. Um, Especially if we have different people willing to come on and talk about movies we've done. Everybody's got different opinions and all that, so that's one of the main reasons why we're willing to go back down the road for other stuff that we've already done. But you can also recommend stuff we haven't done, and you're welcome to come on the show. Jaimie's welcome to come on the show. Chancey's welcome. Everybody in the world is welcome to come on an evening at the movies. It's just one big party and a lot of fun. So, with all that said, as always, again, thank you to the fans. Thank you, Jaimie, for coming on.
Thank you.
And we hope you guys had a good time. And we hope you guys all come back for an evening at the movies. Have a good week, guys.